Hello, good morning. It's another beautiful Saturday morning, and you're welcome to another edition of ATP Live. Today, we're going to be having an open house discussion. In other words, you get to ask all sorts of questions as relating to children. My name is Bisola Ogunbadewa, and with me in the studio this morning is Dr. Gbemisola Boyede. Please stay tuned, share with your friends, invite them over, and let's have fun this morning.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here this morning and happy voting day. I hope all of us have registered to be part of the election this morning. So we wish you the best and we wish Nigeria all the very best today as we decide our leaders. So, but here we have just our ATP Live and just another 1 hour for us to ask our child health related questions and answers. We had different topics over the months, and usually we decide that the last Saturday of the month will be an opportunity for us to, ask questions, any questions, so that we can address them. I know some of them you ask questions that are not related to the topic we're treating, and we were not able to address them. But today you're free to ask anything whatsoever you want to ask. So feel free to share our video. Feel free to put your questions and comments, and we'll be here, myself and Bisola, to address them. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, and let's start having the question coming in. And if you are watching from our watch party, we may not be able to see your questions, so you may need to navigate to the video, or we trust some of our volunteers to help us draw your questions down here. So good morning to everyone who is saying good morning to us. So welcome to ATP Live. Please share the video, put your questions and comments. We're so excited to be with you this morning. Thank you. Okay, so Usola, while we are waiting for our questions, so I don't know. I mean, is there anything you think we can talk about? Is there anything you think we would like us to deal with this morning? Okay, I'm not sure that was all with me. Okay, so we just continue and then we can take your question. I can see Vera. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're all welcome. Yeah, okay. I think sometimes my moderator's internet sometimes act up, so I'm sure Busola will join me again very soon. So once again, it is ATP Open House. Open house. So you are free to ask your questions. You are free um, to ask us any question. And let's start on time so that we can begin to address your question. We want a situation where we'll start. We'll now start running to finish your questions at the end of the day. So this is the best time to ask your questions, and we'll be able to address them. All right. So while we're still waiting for the questions, I'm going to start putting up some of the videos of we've been introducing something new on ATP now, and that is giving you some condensed information. So I'll be sharing some of them with you this morning, just for us to have an understanding of what we've been talking about. I'm still waiting for your question, but please be ready. Okay, so we're waiting for our questions, but I'll just be sharing some of our ATP information with you as we are going on. Okay, I think we are all back to the house. Yeah, so welcome back, Usala. Yeah, okay. So I think we start having our questions already. I'll just show them and then we can take them. Okay, Busola, can you read it for us? Okay, so Omolara Okpadono is asking, can cerebral palsy be cured as in children living a normal life again? So I guess this is a question that arose from our last week ATP Live, where we had uh, the discussion about developmental delays and things like that. So I guess that's where this particular question is coming from. So yes, we for those who don't know what cerebral palsy is, I think I may first start with that to say that cerebral palsy is a condition in which, due to an injury to the brain of a child, when the baby is still developing, it could be in the womb, it could be during birth, it could be shortly after birth. But in that period when the brain of the baby is still developing, when there's an injury to that brain, and it leads to the child having some difficulties with their what we call motor function, the ability to move and things like that. Some other issues could be associated with it as well. That's what we call cerebral palsy. Now, when it comes to cerebral palsy, the injury that has happened to the brain is a permanent injury. In other words, there's really nothing you can do to that injury that has happened to the brain itself. But the good thing about it is that the injury doesn't progress. In other words, it's a what we call a static injury. In other words, the injury to the brain doesn't get worse, and it's just the same. At the end of the day, the manifestation of the cerebral palsy depends on the severity of that injury. So for some children, it is so severe that we have different classification of cerebral palsy. So we have what we call level one GMFCS, that is level one function to level five. What that means is when you see somebody with level one function, that person, you will hardly know the person has cerebral palsy. The person can do virtually almost everything that other persons are doing. But when you see somebody with level five, that person is in wheelchair and may not be able to do things for themselves, and that tends to remain the same. In other words, so cerebral palsy cannot be cured. It's a permanent injury to the brain. We can't do anything to what has happened to the brain, but we can help those who have the condition to live as normal life as possible by supporting them, and depending on the level or the severity of the injury, so of the cerebral palsy level of function. So you have people with cerebral palsy who are lawyers, who are doctors, who are pediatric neurologists, and you also have people with cerebral palsy who will always be in the wheelchair, who will never walk. So that's so that's the extreme of cerebral palsy. So it depends on the severity of the injury to the brain and the level of function of the person who has the cerebral palsy. So I hope I've answered that, Omolara. So I move on. Excuse my moderator. I guess there'll be a lot of internet challenge today because everybody's at home in Nigeria today. All right. So Jacob Lobby is asking, a baby of 14 months that is still not working, what can be done? Okay. Again, this is like a continuation of last week's ACP Live. So usually at that ATP Life, I talk about the fact that we have what we call the average range of achieving developmental milestones. So every child should walk between averagely 1 year. Some may walk slightly earlier than 1 year. Some may walk slightly later than 1 year. But we pediatricians have what we call a limiting age. In other words, at what age will I worry as a pediatrician what is now beyond what is normal range? So for us, we start worrying about 18 months. So if a 14-month-old is not yet working, I will not worry. I will just say leave the baby alone, especially if the baby is able to do other things that precede walking. In other words, the baby is sitting, the baby is crawling, the baby is even standing, maybe cruising around the table. We'll hold the table and walk around it. If the baby is doing that, it's just a matter of time that baby will eventually work. So, but if by the time the baby is 18 months and that child is not working, at that point is when now we worry as a pediatrician, and I will expect you to at that point is when we will now want you to bring the child to us. Okay. All right. I hope that answered that question. All right. Somebody else is asking. I'll try and see if I can bring Usala in. Affairs unit is asking, is biting part of development in a 1 year old? Okay. Is biting Usala, can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, I'm not so sure she is. Okay, is biting part of development in a 1 year old? Now that's it's a tricky question. Okay, so normally when babies are bringing out their teeth, they tend to have some kind of discomforts, which make them feel like biting something. So it's not unusual for babies to bite on things, and sometimes they can bite on people as well when they are trying to get out the teeth. But usually it should stop. So, but then I will worry if a child is biting, in biting things that are not food materials or human being, and is doing it. Maybe, for example, people who already has all their teeth and they are doing it like not because they're in discomfort, but they are doing it, because they don't really know how to. They don't see it as something wrong to do. So it is not like it's a normal development, but it can happen, especially during the process when babies are bringing out their teeth. But then watch out again, because sometimes it could also be a manifestation of some other developmental condition. But I hope I'm not confusing you. Anyway, but don't worry about a 1 year old who is biting, because most of the time is because of they are bringing out their teeth, and there's really nothing to worry about. Okay, so Busala, are you with us now?
Yes, I'm here, ma.
Can you just help us with the next question?
There's a question from Olamide Oluwatuyi. What's the
Yeah.
best line of approach for a 15-month-old child that is exposed to chickenpox from a household contact?
Okay, thank you. So we get a lot of these kind of questions about household contacts and chickenpox. In fact, one of our volunteers was asking me, she herself had the chickenpox and she had a baby, a very maybe 2 3 month old baby with her, and she was so worried. What can she do? Now, let's start by saying that the best protection against chickenpox is immunization. So there's chickenpox immunization, and so we encourage that children to get chickenpox immunization. But most time you can't get it until 1 2 years. So it is not unusual that you have a child who is not yet for the age of immunization, and the child now gets exposed to chickenpox. Now the next solution is actually to give the child what we call a temporary protective immunization, what we call passive immunization against chickenpox. So we have what we call immunoglobulins, so which can also be sold, but they are terribly expensive and they are very difficult to get, especially in our own countries. They are very, very difficult to get in Nigeria. So most times there's really nothing you can do about it. So what we just do, if you can't get immunoglobulin to give passive immunization to the baby, then the next thing you can do is just to watch and wait and just try and limit the contact. In other words, you don't just keep exposing the baby. So basic rule of hygiene, like washing of your hands often, try to limit, contact with the baby with the person who has chickenpox. If it's another sibling, try and see that the others are not, playing together all the time. And not that they will isolate the person, but at least they should limit the amount of exposure. They should wash their hands often and things like that. It will help, but sometimes you just have to watch and wait. And if the other people, because sometimes they're just going to have it, and if they have it, you just, since you already know that you are expecting, and you just be aggressive with the treatment. Luckily, chickenpox is a viral infection. Most of the time, it doesn't require any specific drug management. So sometimes we can use some antiviral agents, like what we call like cyclovan and the rest. But most time, it should just run its course and stop. So the most important thing is to watch out that it doesn't have complications. So you need to give lots of fluids. You rub the skin with calamine lotion to give soothing effects, and you can give something for the itching and all that. But most time you just wait for it to run its course, and that's it. So sometimes there's really nothing you can do, unfortunately. When it has happened, it has happened. You just have to deal with it. So so you just watch. It's not compulsory that a child will have it. And let me quickly answer the question about if it's a mother that has it, because you can't leave your baby. Luckily, as a mother, if you have had chickenpox before, you've been immunized before, you should be able to produce those antibodies that will protect a newborn baby against chickenpox. But sometimes there's really nothing you can do about it. You just watch and wait. The best thing is to get that immunoglobulin, but I don't think I've even ever had use it because it's so rare and it's so expensive to get. All right, so I hope we've been able to help you a lot today. Yeah. We'll move on to the next question. Yeah.
Yeah. Amarachi also is asking, good morning, Ma. Please, what is autism? Can a child outgrow it? Can the child talk fluently, interact, and communicate? Please put me through. And what's the cost? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maraki, for your question. And just to say that autism is like a whole topic on its own. We can spend the whole of this ACP live just talking about autism. But what I'm going to do, there's going to be autism day in April, usually April 2nd or thereabouts is autism. We celebrate autism, World Autism Day. I will come back and talk about autism, but I'll just give you a little information about autism. So autism is a developmental condition. We actually call it autism spectrum disorders, where children have difficulty with the what we call social communication, social, interactions, and sometimes they have what we call some repetitive or restricted pattern of behavior. So if a child has this two major things, social communication difficulties and presence of repetitive restricted pattern of behavior, we say that child is on the autism spectrum. And it's also a spectrum. So when we say something is a spectrum, it means it varies. So you have the mild kind, just like the way I talked about cerebral palsy before. So you have the mild one. So you have children who have autism, or you have adults with autism who can talk, who can go to school, who can do everything. And there are professors, there are international celebrities who have autism. At the end of the day, you also have the other hand of autism where children are non-verbal. In other words, they have no words, and then they have a lot of difficulties. They need to go to a special school and all that. So it depends on where the child is on the spectrum. But what we normally recommend is that the best thing for the child to be diagnosed early. So if you suspect that a child has autism, you see a pediatrician, preferably a developmental pediatrician and or a speech therapist. And then the child should be assessed, and then the child should be provided with the right support. So with the right support, most children with autism can overcome their difficulties. In other words, so if a child with autism is not talking, the child can, with speech therapy, begin to talk. The child can learn the social skills. It's just that what you take for granted in the other children, most of you don't teach your children to talk. They just start talking, and most of the time you don't teach them to greet people or to have friends. They just do it spontaneously or to play with other children. But children with autism need support around these difficulties. But with support, they can overcome the challenges. So and there are a lot of supports online. There are a lot of supports online. There are a lot of support group for parents. So you can just go online, search, and if you are in a particular part, like I know, for example, I'm not trying to advertise for Guarantee Trust Bank, but I know they do a lot of autism advocacy. They do a lot of conferences. Sometimes they do a lot of free assessments for children. I think they do it around July. So those are things that you can, tap into, even in Nigeria to. But there is help, or you just any of our teaching hospitals, most of them will have facilities for doing assessment. But with help and with the right support, most of them can overcome. But what we normally recommend is early diagnosis. So the earlier you see this specialist, the better. And let me just sound a warning there, because most of the time in Nigeria, when a child is slow in development, a child is 2-year-old is not talking. People, oh, it's just a boy. Oh, boys always talk less. I once wrote a particular article where I actually tell the story. So a child is not talking at school. Everybody will tell you, oh, no, it's not a problem. No, but in fact, my son didn't talk until 3 years old. My son didn't talk. on the 4 years. So they kind of reassure the parents, and sometimes the parents don't come to seek help on time because we, the neighbors, we, the friends, and this is one of the reasons why we have asked the pediatricians, because we don't want you to ask mothers sometimes, because sometimes they meant well, but sometimes you can be sincerely wrong, even though you meant well. And so I always say it's better to err on the side of caution. It's better to get the child assessed and be reassured by a pediatrician to say, oh, there's nothing wrong, you are just being worried. I know that sometimes I tell moms, so you are first time mothers, you always come and disturb the pediatrician, but I don't mind you disturbing me. It's better for you to disturb me and I tell you, okay, don't worry, you shouldn't have bothered coming, than for me to discover, than for me to say, why they need to come on time? Why are you just coming now? So it's better for us to make sure that we take the child for. So, and mothers are very good. We have this intuition. And I always tell mothers, always trust your intuition. I think it's like a God-given radar. Sometimes mothers just see it like, there's something not right here. And then they just, but sometimes they ask the wrong people and then they tell them, oh, don't worry, you're just being worried. And that is a problem. So if you as a mother, you have intuition, there's something not sitting well with this child, please see a pediatrician. Let them have your child assessed first. Let the professional be the one to reassure you, and then you can now rest. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. Let's move on, Bosala.
Well, I can't see any other question here yet.
Oh, you can see the question. So Olanike is asking, my baby is almost 6 months and it's not tolerating any other milk beside breast milk. I'm almost through with exclusive breastfeeding for him, and I'm weary to try any other milk. Please, when can I start when can I start with baby food or local made soy milk? Now, Olanike, thank you so much for your question. Number one, even from your question alone, I think you are doing it wrong. That's the issue. See, we need to understand the number one, your baby is just 6 months old. So your baby should just still be finishing breastfeeding. And yet you started so many milks already. That means you were not actually doing exclusive breastfeeding because you couldn't have tried other milk. And your baby is just a very good baby who is listening to the pediatricians and telling you, the pediatrician say I should only take breast milk for 6 months, so I'm not going to take any other milk. Good boy or good girl, I don't know which one he is. So please leave the baby alone. The baby is doing well. No other milk until 6 months. Fine, your baby is correct. So after 6 months, you now start introducing other food. And so if you are a member of ATP, if you go to our group, if there's anything we really talk about a lot, I think we talk about nutrition a lot on ATP. So we have a unit course on complementary feeding, on how to go about complementary feeding. So your baby doesn't need any other milk. What your baby needs is to start eating other food. And there's a process to that. So from 6 months, you start introducing new food to your baby. And there's a process to that. And usually when you start, you don't start like you start a baby who just finished breastfeeding for 6 months. You're not going to give them 200 minutes of pap before the very first say no. So you start complementary feeding gradually. You start replacing you start adding 1 or 2 meals, then before you know you grew up, and then you start with something light, semi-solid consistency. It doesn't have to be milk, it doesn't have to be a tin product. That's the mistake we also make as mothers. We think that when we finish breastfeeding, then we need to go to another tin product, either a milk or a cereal or whatever. No, you can give your baby complementary feeds from your own kitchen. And remember, you are still going to keep on breastfeeding. So you're not stopping breastfeeding, and you're only just going to start adding things. And you can add local food. I'm happy you make mention of that. So you don't need to try any other milk. Complementary feeding is not going from breast milk to another milk. It is going from continuing breastfeeding while you are adding other products and other food, and it can be food that you eat as well. So you could start with something like cereal, it could be a fruit, like a porridge, and you give the child. So we have very lovely videos, very simple. How do I start? How often do I do it? What can I use? Very lovely videos. So I would recommend you go to ACP, go to our unit section. You will see there's a unit on breastfeeding, which I'm sure you have done. And then there's Yeah, good. And there's a unit on breastfeeding, and then there's a unit on complementary feeding. So you can't watch those videos and not understand complementary feeding, and then you realize that you don't need to worry at all. So, Lanike, you have to go and do it properly. Okay, I hope that helps. Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next question is from Amaka Grace.
Hmm.
She's asking, please, is there a remedy for colic pain? My baby is 1 month and I'm really concerned. It's sad
Yeah.
seeing him go through this.
Yeah, sorry. I know it can be mom don't like the babies being in pain, and they no, but well, let's start by saying that we don't think babies are having pain when they're having colic. I know they cry, and people saying, "Oh, babies." Maybe I think it's because of the crying. Mothers always think it's pain, and then they think, "Oh, I've seen mothers cry when the babies are crying as well because of colic," and it's so amazing. I mean, that shows the love of a mother. Now, so colic is one of those things that will come to pass. I always tell mothers, don't worry, there are some things that will just come to pass. And I always let mothers know that sometimes we as pediatricians, we don't always do something about everything. Sometimes we just sit and watch and let the thing come to pass. So colic is one of those things. And what really happens in colic is the discomfort. It's not like a pain, like abdominal pain. Babies are just getting aware of their bodies, and it is when gas or things are flowing through their body, it kind of surprises them. And sometimes they get discomfort, and then they have that discomfort. So there are ways of reducing it, and one of the ways of reducing it is by making sure that breastfeeding actually protects also, because babies who are on bottle feeding and milk, they tend to have lots more gases, and it is those gas moving and difficulty with, sometimes the gas, it kind of discomfort the babies, and when they pass it, they feel somehow, and that's why you see sometimes when they pass the gas, they feel relieved, and then they stop the crying. So we always recommend breastfeeding, no bottle feeding and all that. And even for the breastfeeding, make sure your baby don't cry too long before you breastfeed. Because when they cry, they actually suck in a lot of hair before you put them to breast. And that will also mean, and they have to pass out all those hair, all those gas that they've sucked in. So those are little things that you can even use to prevent a little bit of colic. Now, when colic itself, but sometimes it's just one of those things that will happen. There's nothing you can do about it. There are non-medication way, just comforting a baby, just rolling them, uh, like the grannies, they know how to do it. My Yoruba grandma would say, one pass it for my, like you just take the baby and just rock them a little bit, put them on your back. So it helps. Sometimes we can recommend medication like Infacol. Infacol, we recommend Infacol. It helps for, it helps some babies. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It doesn't help. So the babies will go through it. But the good news is that most babies will stop having colic by 3 months. So if you tried all those rocking method, making sure you are not using bottle, making sure you are not allowing the baby to take in lots of hair, you can also try Infacol. Those are the things you can try. If with all that your baby is still having it, just hang in there. It will stop. Max 3 months, then your baby will be fine. Okay, so Amaka, don't worry, it will come to pass. But you can try Infacol and it will help. We don't. There are some other products we don't recommend, but I don't want to mention it so that the people who make them will not come for me. But we don't recommend things like I can mention some names. So mothers give things like Bonabe, people give things like Colipan, people give things like what other one they give? There's so many of them that give, but we don't recommend all those. The only thing we recommend for your colic is Infacol, and or if there's no Infacol, just rock the baby, use non medical method, medication method, and the baby will be fine. But whatever it is, just hang in there. By the time your baby is 3 months, everything will be over. All right. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, Ezine is asking, what can be the cause of a 14-month baby that started talking, like calling names of the elder ones, but stopped talking after she fell sick, that lasted for 3 weeks? Not even the names she used to call before now.
Okay, that's a very serious one. Not to frighten you, but I am worried about that child. Then as a developmental pediatrician, anytime a child regrets, in other words, anytime a child stops doing what they are doing before in development, it's a concern. It's a big flag. It's a red flag for any developmental pediatrician. So I worry. And I'm particularly worried because you said this child was sick for 3 weeks. So what kind of sickness? I can imagine a kind of sickness that will make a child to be ill for 3 weeks. I hope it's not meningitis or something like that. But those kind of conditions that make a child to be very sick, can even cerebral malaria and all those things, they can cause the child to regress. And we need to monitor that child. Sometimes some children just regress and then they begin to pick up again and we are happy. But sometimes it's a sign for us that there's something going wrong with the development. And so I would recommend that you see a developmental pediatrician or a pediatric neurologist or any pediatrician that is in your close to you where you, because you maybe need to be monitored. We also see that sign in children with autism, because sometimes one of the red flags of autism is the fact that the children stop doing what they are doing before. So the child is already talking, calling names, and then they stop. So I'm not making a diagnosis on your baby or XNA. What I'm just trying to say is that your child is having this child is having symptoms that is a red flag for me as a developmental pediatrician, and I really need to get somebody to monitor that child's development. And depending on what illness was wrong with the child for 3 weeks, that's also a big flag. If you can give us a little more information, that will also help me to really tie it together. But whatever the case, that child really needs to be monitored and to be seen by a pediatrician. It's a very important thing that you do that. Okay, we'll move on.
Lawal Olayinka is asking, good morning, Ma. My baby is 5 months plus, exclusively breastfed, but his weight is not on the average. Some weeks ago, his poo was green. It's okay now. I'm coughing and it seems he has contacted it too. What do I use? He's a hyperactive baby. He does virtually all the things his mates cannot do.
Lawal, why do you give our baby cough? We need to come and sue you. We need to come and we need to come and carry you in your house. Why should you give our baby cough? Anyway, that's just by the wayside. So, number one, to answer the question about the weight, you need to give me more information because I don't know what your own average is. So, mothers, I don't know whether you are using the average because of your other friends' baby's weight is your own average. So, you need to really be specific with me. So, for your baby, I need to know what was the birth weight and what is the current weight. Then I will know whether it is average or not average. So you need to give me more information. But I could imagine that a baby who was having greenish stool was not getting enough breast milk. So try and make sure you breastfeed more often, more frequently. I'm happy it has stopped, but try and breastfeed on demand is what we recommend. And relax. One of the reasons why mothers have difficulty with breastfeeding or they don't breastfeed adequately is because of worry or stress, anxiety. Because when you have all that, it makes your breast milk the breast milk is produced from the brain. I hope you know that your breast milk is actually produced from your brain, not from the breast. In other words, there's an hormone from the brain that tells the body to produce more. We need more milk. We need more milk. And that hormone comes in when your baby is sucking, when you are seeing your baby, you are happy, hearing the voice of your baby, and you are relaxed. That hormone will work and breast milk will be produced a lot. But if you are stressed and you are anxious, there's worry, you are then the brain tells the body, no, we don't want breast milk now. We need to sort out this stressful condition first. Your life, let's sort out this mother first before we can think about producing milk for the baby. And that's what normally happens. So you see me most of the time telling mothers, relax, relax, relax. That's the solution to producing more breast milk. Relax. If you need to stop working, if you need to take a break, if you need to take leave, that is why some of us are, in some countries, maternity leave is 1 year because we don't want you to be stressed about anything. In fact, Lagos State has now made it 6 months because you really need to relax to be able to do that exclusive breastfeeding. Most other companies that maternity leave is 6 months because they want you to be able to do your breastfeeding for 6 months. So relax, don't worry about running up and down, making all the money in Nigeria. Please relax so that your baby can breastfeed. So And that's what you need to do. I don't know. I'm happy your baby is active and maybe your baby is doing everything. That's good. But for me to be able to answer your question specifically, I really need to know what is the weight of your baby now and what was the best way, then I can answer that question. All right, but just relax. Your baby will be fine. Okay, we move on.
Okay, Ogundeyi Oluwatosin. Good morning, ma. Please, ma, what does teething have to do with the baby stooling, and what can be taken to prevent it or to control stooling?
Thank you, Ogundeyi, Kemi. So stooling has nothing to do with teething. That just even end it there. That's the answer to that one. Teething and stooling, nothing. So we've talked about teething. I think we did an open house on, I mean, we did the ATP live on teething because it's one of those things mothers worry about. So teething and stooling, no. So it is a mindset or it's a myth that mothers have that babies must have watery stool when they are teething, pure mix. So I've seen babies, I've had my own babies, and throughout the process of teething, no diarrhea is possible. And you don't need to give anything to prevent it. You don't need to give anything to you don't need to give anything to prevent it. You don't need to give anything to stop. To sitting is a normal physiological process. I'm looking for those my ATP slides that talks about sitting and all that. If I find it later, I will show you. So sitting is a normal physiological process. So it is just as simple as your baby having growing, walking, running, speaking. It's just the same thing. That's exactly what sitting is. It's just the same process. So it has nothing to do with, it's not a sickness, it's not an illness. I'm trying to look for, yeah, I'm looking for some of those pictures so that I can show us. It is not a sickness, it's not anything. So teething is just a normal physiological process, and you don't really need to worry about it at all. So that is number one for us to know. And then so you don't need to do anything, and I hope you know that you don't need to go and give what do we give now? You don't need to give any teething mixture. We don't recommend that at all. So just leave the baby alone. And what I've explained to Nigerian mothers, why sometimes our babies tend to have those infection during the period they are teething. During the time babies are teething, they tend to bite on so many things a lot because they have that sensation, that feeling to bite on something. So you see them putting a lot of things in their mouth. Remember, it's also about the same time, 6 months, that they begin to sit. It's about the time they begin to touch everything. They move their hands. So they are more adventurous, which is quite good. But you as a mother now need to make sure that the environment is always clean. Also, this is about the time most mothers stop breastfeeding. This is also about the time most mothers start giving other food. And sometimes we worry, breast milk, God prepared it, hygienic, perfect. No, everything is perfect, right temperature, right, straight from the source, is produced as needed and all that. So babies are fine. But now you start cooking your own food. Some mothers no hand washing, they are preparing food. Some people will prepare milk from morning, then they'll be giving it at night. Why would the baby not stool? So those are the things. So it is our own practices around the period that makes this baby to have this thing. It is not the teething itself. So all the toys, you make sure you sterilize them. Most of them, the toys will just drop on the floor, and the mother will just move it, clean it on their own clothes, and give it back to the baby, and the baby put it back in their mouth. Jams, I mean, those are the things that is causing the diarrhea. It is not the teething. So, but if you just try it, sterilize, make sure your house, you clean it, disinfectants all over the place, sterilizing your toys. It's not only bottles that are sterilized, you sterilize toys as well, because these toys, the babies are putting it in their mouth. At least wash it once a day. Those are the things that we need to do. When you do all those things, your baby will be healthy. So it has nothing to do with teething, but you need to make sure that this period, the baby is being exposed to a lot of germs. But you as a mother, you need to reduce this. And when you are introducing complementary feeding, please do it right. All this one will prepare milk and will prepare food. Then you say, okay, you didn't finish that one, go and keep it. You will go and bring that same food to give the baby. No, I always say when you baby doesn't finish it, throw it away. You don't keep it, because when you keep it, the bacteria inside have multiplied. So those are the things that make our baby to have diarrhea. Some people will prepare their pap inside 1 gallon like that, and they will carry it up and down for from morning to night. That's what the baby is going to eat. Those are the things that is making our babies to have diarrhea. When a baby doesn't finish a milk in a bottle, they will keep it. Then when it is time, go and warm it. You are warming bacteria. So those are the things causing the diarrhea. It has nothing. It's just like a coincidence if you like it. But if you make efforts and make sure that you maintain good hygiene, good proper nutrition, you make sure whatever your baby is putting in their mouth. If you need to use a titer, make sure you have your titer and you sterilize your titer every morning. When it drops, go and put it back in the sterilizing solution before you give it back. You don't just sit on your clothes. Those are the ways by which we introduce germs to our babies. So I hope that will help. So teething and diarrhea, nothing to do with them. Okay. Okay, we're moving on. So I think I talk a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
question from Tunini. Good morning, ma'am. Is there any cause to worry if a boy of 6 years starts growing pubic hair?
No, not to worry. It's just what we call early puberty. Just like when I was talking about development, some things we all do it at an average. And one thing the people like Dr. Woman, the endocrinologists will tell us that their age when people begin to mature is actually going lower and lower every day. So in our olden days, it's higher, but now even 8, 9 children are already having puberty. So it is not unusual. So we just monitor, but sometimes in some children, it could be a sign of some other illnesses. So if you worry about it, if that's the only thing, most of the time we just watch. We just say it's isolated, early development, but we'll watch it. But if there are other signs in that baby to make us worry, then I think you will need to see a pediatric endocrinologist. But most time there's really nothing wrong, just being healthy. But sometimes it could happen in some condition, rare condition like cancer, some conditions, some drugs, and all that. But if there are other signs to make you worry, just see a pediatric endocrinologist. Thank you. Can you see the next question?
Good
Yeah.
morning, doc. Yeah, there's a question here. Good morning, doctor. Please, ma, when should this child start talking? My baby is 1 year and can only say papa.
That's good. So I always teach mothers by the rule of the thumb. So the rule of the thumb is that a 1-year-old should be saying one word, single words. So usually by 1-year-old, most children will have 1 to 3 words. So they have either mama, papa, or they call some names, hallelujah, amen, something they are used to. By 2 years, they should begin to combine 2 words together. They should begin to combine 2 words together. By 3 years, they should begin to combine 3 words together. That's the rule of the thumb. And by 4 years, they should be speaking like an adult. So you should be able to have a conversation with a 4-year-old, and they should speak grammatically correct, everything is sound, so that's what we aspire. But remember, I just give you average. So some children are what we call late bloomers. They may talk a little bit later than the other children and all that. But if the other area of development are fine, we will not worry. So let me just say, most speech therapists will not worry about your child not talking until the child is 2. So in other words, we always give gap for those who could be slower than the other people. So some people you see some 1-year-old, they're already talking like full sentences. You're like, wow. But also some babies may not talk until 2, but there's nothing wrong with them. So most of the time we just give gap for those who are fast and those who are slow. Everybody will catch up. So but by the time they start getting to 2 and there are no words, or there are just a few words, that's when people like us and the speech therapists will start getting concerned, and that's when you do. But what I would recommend for you, if you go on ATP, on our Activision Facebook group, we have a lot of articles or a lot of posts on how to encourage speech development in your child. Now, children don't learn talking by watching TV or by playing video games. Children learn talking by talking to people. You talk to them and you let them talk back to you. But these days, most time parents, they don't see us from morning to night, and the average working mother. So, but we really need to play with our children. So children start learning to talk, not by talking, but by playing. That is because I'm not. I don't want to go into that. Maybe I'll bring the speech habits to that. But see, children talking is a it's like a an imaginative thing, you know. So when I say dog, you don't see dog. What you see is a dog. You think of a dog. That's what you think about. That's how we know language. So so children need to learn to play what we call symbolic play, pretend play. It is a precursor to them knowing that okay, when I see the word, I can now use the word dog to represent this animal. So initially they start by playing, they feed their dog, they put the dog to their back. All those play they used to do, they are very important. They are what precede them knowing that okay, when I say this thing, this particular this particular vocabulary or whatever, it means something else. So it is very important. So we have a lot of do-it-yourself parent strategies on how to improve speech development. So if you're worried, just start doing it. You can do it for all children. That you don't lose nothing, even if there's nothing wrong with your child. Just do it anyway, and your child's speech will. But if by 2 years and your child is not yet talking, that's when I will recommend you see a pediatrician. Okay, our time is going now. We still have lots of questions.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we need to rush up.
We
There's
need
a
to.
question from Oni Helen. Why does a toddler keep having tonsillitis often, at least once in 3 months?
Oh, okay. I think display another question. I already did the same thing. Okay, I don't know why you. Okay, but I can answer the one you said first. A child who is having
Is that
tonsillitis.
something else?
Okay, don't worry, don't worry. So if a child is having tonsillitis every 6 months, that is too frequent. So I'll
3 months.
recommend you see your pediatrician. Sometimes they have what we call adenoid hypertrophy, and what that means is that we need to take it out. But usually we want to watch on ways. But if the infection is so often, the solution is to take out the tonsils. That's what they will do finally. But if they can watch and see, try other ways, and we can wait, because usually sometimes it will go by itself. The tonsil will shrink on its own. But if it's really causing infection, you are in and out of hospital several times in a year, then they will need to take it out. So the question I actually was displaying is Ebo Ifeoma is asking about dry scaly. Can you say that now? Dry scaly
That's
patch.
after the tonsillitis.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm displaying this one now. That my son has a dry, scaly
Okay.
patch on top of his skin, and his face color is dark and fair. Okay, yeah, look like he's 3 months old. Okay, look like a child with atopic dermatitis, or maybe with some complicated fungal infection or whatever. So if you really need to take your baby to see your doctor, because before we can make a diagnosis of a rash, I really need to say it. So I hope you understand that, because I keep explaining why doctors do say certain way. So it is not enough for you to tell me. From what you've told me, I have an idea. It could be atopic dermatitis, but because there's also that scaly and whatever, we may need to be sure there's no additional complication like a fungal thing. So the commonest cause of this thing is when babies react to the products you are using. So I always tell mothers, baby skins are so sensitive, so be careful. All these nice smelling products that we buy for babies, they're nice, they make your house smell nice, they make baby smell nice, but they're not good for the baby's skin, because most of those things that smell nice are chemicals. There are chemicals in those products, and those chemicals, the babies react to them. So we always say go for what we call hypoallergenic product. It's always written on it, so the rights tested by the pediatrician or dermatologist, and it's okay. Those products have less chemicals that can make your baby react. So you may want to try that first, and then you can see your doctor for further support. Okay, I think we are moving now. I think I'll
Yeah, from
Melda.
Melda.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Can a 4-year-old child outgrow adenoid hypertrophy? I have been managing it from birth.
Yes, they can. I think you really need to go, Melda. You need to go to our Facebook group. I think last or 2 weeks ago, we have a consultant ENT surgeon who was with us, and he dealt with that topic, and I was so happy. It was very simple, very straightforward. So what the ENT doctors do is to watch and see. We usually will wait until 5, 6 years. I know you've been managing it from birth. You're almost there. So if your baby is not having infections and all that, and your baby is not having signs of obstruction or difficulty with breathing at night, or what we call sleep apnea and all that, your baby is not having any of those complications, if it's just the snoring, you can just watch and wait a little more till your baby is like about 5, 6. Usually by 5, 6, if they still worry, then the ENT doctors will take it out. But if your baby is having others in symptoms like is having infections and all that, then you will need to see. But whichever way, see your ENT surgeons, and then they will take it up from there. Okay, I think I'm rushing now.
From endurance, my baby had jaundice for 6 weeks, but it is
Mm.
now clearing a bit from her eye for these 7 weeks. Uh, question the bit. And on exclusive breastfeeding, hope it will not affect the baby. And before she pulls, she always twists her body, and it looks as if the pull is hard for her to pull. But when she pull it out, it's normal. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a perfect description of a child just having discomfort or colic. Like I was telling the other mom when I answered the question about colic, if they maybe not, they're not having pain. There's nothing wrong with the stool. They're just, it's just that process. They are very aware of their body. Their body is so small and tiny. So any little movement kind of shocks them or surprises them. So they feel as if it's a major incident about to happen, but there's really nothing, because the stool is actually normal. So, but as they get bigger and more mature, then they begin to grow that. But endurance, I'm worried about your baby having jaundice for 6 weeks. That's pretty long. That's pretty long. That's pretty long. What was the cause of the jaundice? Did your pediatrician tell you the cause of the jaundice? Because for me to see, the jaundice is not the problem. It's like jaundice will always clear. Whether it lasts for 1 week, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, it will eventually clear. But I'm worried about what the jaundice has caused before it left. So why do your baby have jaundice for 6 weeks? That's a prolonged jaundice. But any jaundice lasting more than 2 weeks is prolonged jaundice. So you really need to ask your pediatrician what is the cause of the jaundice and whether it's something you still need to worry about or not. But I just hope your baby is fine, in terms of the brain development, because that's what I worry about as a developmental pediatrician. Yeah. Okay.
Next question.
Yeah, let's read next question.
From Chinelo.
Hmm.
From Chinelo, she says, where one has twins or triplets, and it's difficult for the mother to do exclusive breastfeeding. The babies are 3 months and refuse thin milk. What do you advise?
Okay, so number one, it is possible to do exclusive breastfeeding for twins. It is possible. I know triplets will be stretching it, but it's possible to. I've seen people do for twins easily. I've seen a lot of twins who are exclusive breastfed, so that one is not an issue. Maybe triplets may be hard, and then no, so they are refusing thin milk. What do you advise? I don't know what to advise. You have to try different milk until you get what they like. In other countries, we used to do what we call surrogate wet nursing, where somebody else, you can get breast milk from breast milk bank, and you can use another mother's milk. Some people are very blessed, they lactate a lot and they can just bottle the milk. But since the advent of HIV/AIDS, we are very, very careful, because babies can get HIV from breast milk. So even though you may be sure, but these days everybody just wants to avoid, so that you avoid stories that tell that touch later. So we don't encourage much wet nursing anymore. So there are thousands of baby milk. So you may need to just work with your pediatrician, and your pediatrician can figure out. Yeah, and usually I always wonder when mom say my baby refuse, my baby refuse. It is not easy to try something new. I always ask them, when you go to another country and they offer you new food, it's not every time you go, and at least I can talk for myself, I don't always jump into new food so easily like that. I know some people are very adventurous, but majority of us will like, what is that though? What is that? So it is not unusual so babies are also just being normal human beings. So it is not unusual for them not to like something new immediately. So you really need to persevere. You need to be persistent when you're trying to introduce it. Because when your baby needs to eat, baby must eat. So there are two ways you can also try and increase your own breast milk production. Actually, you can lactate. You just like, it's a lot of stress. So you may still need somebody to help you to feed them. But if you keep lactating and storing, you can actually breastfeed your babies. But you may actually do all the all the work is just expressing breast milk. Why somebody will have to be feeding the three of them? So, but you can try. But you can also work with your pediatrician, and then they will see how to help you. Actually, baby milk should be prescribed by pediatrician. People don't know that, because you should actually take breast milk. And if your baby needs to use baby formula, a pediatrician should prescribe it for you, because we need to know certain things. We need to know about allergies. We need to know about all those things. So, but I know in Nigeria, most places, people just go and buy the milk by themselves according to what they like, according to their pocket. But really, ideally, we pediatricians should prescribe formula for you to use. Yes, because we only will prescribe it only if we have exhausted the opposite, that like that. Okay, your baby is not able to take breast milk. We've tried every other option, and then without, so it will be prescribed. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Time is going. How our time has gone. Okay, should I
Thank you,
just pass
Rukai.
to them?
It's
Yeah.
past tense. Good
Let me
morning,
just
ma.
pass
My
to
baby is
them.
4 years. He's not walk. He's not talking. He can't say any word. He was sick when he was less than 1 year old and lost hold of his neck,
Oh,
but he got back after
oh.
treatment.
All right, I'm so sorry, Isagwa. So I guess your baby had, that's what I was telling the other mom that also had similar question. So when baby regress, that's what we call regression, and obviously babies begin to catch up with the neck control and all that. But I think your baby must have had one of those illnesses that affect the brain, and meningitis, cerebral malaria, and unfortunately those things can have long complications. So a 4-year-old should be talking like an adult. So kindly see a speech therapist and a pediatrician to support your baby. I think it was a result of that illness baby had at 1 year. It's not unusual for us to have that kind of scenario. I'm so sorry, but but the baby can be supported. So get the right professionals, and your baby will get the right support.
Okay. There's a question here on pubic hair, but we've answered it
We've
before,
answered pubic
so I
care
won't
before.
take it
So
again.
let's just leave it. So don't worry about
Yes.
it. Don't worry. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Is my an autistic child who has a little speech, repeating most of the things you say. Is it a good sign that she will develop more speech and communicate very well? Thank you.
It's a sign. It's a sign that the child can learn language. It's a sign. Is that what we call echolalia? That's what we call echolalia, when the children just repeat your words after verbatim like that. We call it echolalia. But the child needs speech therapy. So please see speech therapy, and yeah, the child can learn to communicate. Don't worry. The child has the words. The child, there's nothing wrong with the vocal cord. There's nothing wrong with the child being able to use words. So the child can actually say words, but the child needs to learn how to use the word appropriately. So the child needs to know that when we say how are you, you reply with I am fine, not to say how are you again. So those are the things that the speech therapist will work on. All right. But just persist, you will get there. Okay, I think Lawa is just answering my question. Okay. So
Lawal
Lawa,
has tried to
yeah,
provide more information.
yes,
Yes.
yes, very
His
much
birth
information.
weight was 6.2.
Yeah.
At 10 weeks, he was 15 weeks, he was 5 kg. I haven't weighed him recently. With the
But
loose, he hasn't added so much.
okay, your look is not a scale. It's just the same way I say your hand is not a thermometer. So your look is not a scale. So you really need to take this baby, because your baby is now 6 months, and the last time you weigh your baby was at 3.5 months. That's a long time ago. You really need to weigh babies monthly. I was still answering one mom yesterday on ATP. You need to weigh babies monthly. Even when you are not going for immunization, you must still take them for weighing. They must be weighed every month until they are 1 year. Then after that, we can reduce the frequency. But you must weigh your baby, and especially when now you're even concerned about the weight. So that's enough reason for you to just show up in your clinic. You can even go to the health center. You don't have to be a big your normal hospital. You just say, I want to weigh my baby. Let them weigh the baby, because your baby is gaining weight well. I'm not worried about your baby's weight as at this one you are showing is fine. But because we don't know the current weight now, and I can't rely on your eyes. Your eyes is not a weighing machine. So you really need to go and weigh the baby. But really, your baby by now should be weighing like 6.4 kilos. So that's why I really need to know what the baby's weight is. If your baby's weight, you go and do the weight. If it's about 6 or 7, just relax. That's fine. But if it's still like 5, or just maybe 5.5 or something, then I will worry about your baby. But then the solution is just make sure you feed your baby, start the complementary feeding. I think your baby is now 6 months, start the complementary feeding and your baby will be fine. Okay. All right. I think this is we've even answered this one. Samuel asking about a 7-year-old complaint
Bedwetting.
no, 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 no. No, Samuel, a 7-year-old who complained pain in that area in a private part. I am worried. I am at high alert. Just reading it alone, I am at high alert. So that's not the baby you start doing any kind of. You need to take that baby to see a pediatrician. We have to be sure that child has not been abused. That's the most important thing to rule out. Children don't usually complain of pain in that area. They may complain of pain when they want to wee wee, which may suggest infection. And when they have infection, they actually have discharges. And when they can have discharges, they can have rashes around that area. That will even help you. But even with that, even if a 7-year-old is having rashes, is having discharge in that area, and it's not because the baby is not be wearing nice pants or he's not cleaning up after himself properly. It can happen. But you see, as a pediatrician, we always like to rule out the worst case scenario first. I'd rather be sure, because it will be a very bad thing if we mix a baby, a child who is being abused. It will be very bad if we mix it. So I rather want to see that child and examine that child and make sure that I rule out any possibility of abuse. If I rule it out, then I can now think of other infection, and then I will decide how to treat the infection. So please don't go and be using white cream. How do you know it's a fungal infection? And even if it's a fungal infection, white is not what I would normally recommend in that area. So say again, no self-medication, please. I am very, very worried about this baby. So Samuel, I really want you to take that baby to the hospital immediately after this. Whenever the election is over, let a pediatrician examine that baby. And please, you can send me a message on inbox me or email me or at askthepediatricians.com or askthepediatricians@gmail.com. I really want to follow up on that girl. It's very, very important. It's very, very important, because sometimes that's the only sign that child is going to give to us, that we need to save this child now. Look at the story of this girl. What's her name? The girl that died in Benue. It's because all the professionals in that child were missing the sign. They were missing it until the child died. It's very sad. So we don't want to miss any sign. So please get that child examined properly. Okay, time is gone. We need to go. Okay, Chiku is asking about a child who is 8 weeks bedwetting. Okay, so we have a whole group discussion on bedwetting. Usually by 5 years old, children should stop bedwetting. We give them that's up to 5 years old. So you really need to make sure, number one, you limit the water intake towards the evening time, and then you also you take the child to wee-wee intermittently. You have to go and wake the child up at night and all that. You use rewards and all that. If you have been trying all those strategies and your child keeps on bedwetting, we need to be sure there's nothing wrong with what we call urinary tract. Actually, if the child also bedwets during the day, they wee-wee on themselves during the day, you really need to see a pediatrician to make sure that everything is fine. So those are the things that you really need to do right now. Okay, I'm just going to rush through the last question. Why does my son of 1 year, 3 months poo immediately after eating the power, Nutribon, whatever? It is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural reflex. Some people have it. They tend to poo after after they have just finished meal. So there's really nothing wrong with that. So you just need to stop it. Okay, so we'll move on. Sorry about that. People always ask us questions at the end of the day. Maybe we'll start taking your question before the program starts so that we can finish them on time. Something that look like ringworm on my nipple. Ringworm on your nipple? Okay. Please, will it affect my 7-month-old baby? Because I'm thinking of stopping. Blessing. Number one, let's know whether it is ringworm or not. Don't self-medicate. And you are breastfeeding, please. whether for yourself or for your baby, don't give anything. I would rather you get a doctor to look at your breast for you. Be sure it's because we don't really see ringworm on breasts, so very unusual. What we can see, what we call thrush or candidiasis, is the commonest fungal infection that can happen around the breast area, and usually it's because a baby has the oral thrush and is now giving it to you. So before you look at what is normal and turn it into ringworm and go and give drugs that are not necessary, I would rather you first of all get a pediatrician to look at your breast, or your own doctor can do it as well. And if they think there's, yeah, they will tell you what to do. But please don't,
From Jaye Life.
yeah, don't self-medicate when you are breastfeeding. All right, Gloria is asking, thank you for joining us. Low hemoglobin, that is what we call anemia. So there are many causes of anemia. Have you done the genotype of your baby? That's the first thing. In a Nigerian mother who is a Nigerian child who is having persistently low hemoglobin, or who is always short of blood, the first thing to rule out is that the child is not a sickle cell anemic child. So you really need to go and do the genotype. Then let your doctors also do more tests. We need to know why is the child having the low hemoglobin. Is it iron deficiency? Is it nutritional? From your, you think you're always making sure your baby is eating every day and all that. So I guess it's not nutritional. So, but why is it? So we need to know first. Because, for example, if your child has sickle cell anemia, there's no food that will make the hemoglobin to go up. It's always going to be low. That is part of what they have as somebody who have sickle cell anemia. So we need to know why. The first thing is why. Why is this child having low hemoglobin? Then we can provide solution. Okay, there are many people worried about speech. So let me just run through it so that we can round up. I want us to round up in another 5 minutes now. Lamide is asking about 18 months, who is not clear. She repeat what we say. I think your baby is developing well. 18 months old, that's what they do. They repeat words after people, and she understands that is perfect. Just give her time. I've already said it. Usually, we will not worry until your baby is 2 years. So your baby is even doing much better than a child with just saying one word. Anyway, so I'm not worried about your child. So just wait. Cassie is asking, my baby Nachi is still shake his body and head. When I tell him to stop that, he stop it and start smiling, but will later do it again after like 1 hour. I'm worried about that. That sounds unusual, but he's a 9-month-old. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's just enjoying it. But the reason why I'm not worried is because you can stop it. Usually, if it's not something you can stop, then I will worry about it. But sometimes people may just realize it's something fun and it's just enjoying it at this stage. Just watch. If your baby stop doing it in another 1 month or two, by the time you're about 1 year, yeah, that's fine. If your baby doesn't stop doing it, or the baby cannot stop it, or you think baby is not aware what it's doing, then that one you really need to, because I'm actually worried that you're able to tell a 9-month-old to stop doing something and they stop. That's very unusual for a 9-month-old. So if your baby is stopping, fine, it's okay, but then you should monitor it for now. And if it's not getting better, then please see your pediatrician. We're running up in another few minutes. Okay, I'll take the question that came out before time. My 5-month-old on EBF cried before urinating and took him. Okay, it still cries. I'm thinking of giving water. So what has water got to do with the crying? I don't think the problem is the water. What do you think the water is going to do? That the water will make the urine easier to pass, or what? I don't understand. So your baby crying before, is there any wound around that area and all that? Those are the things that we would normally watch. And is your baby crying for the urine or for the poo, or I don't know which doctor you'd see, because sometimes we really need to be more patient with the baby to really know what made the baby cry. Or is it just an habit, or the baby cry even for everything, So I don't see the link between the water and the breast and the urine, crying before passing urine. It has no link whatsoever. So I think you don't need to worry about that. Just finish your exclusive breastfeeding. In another 2 weeks, you can start complementary feeding and your baby can take water. But I am actually wondering what is wrong with your baby, and I would really love to see your baby more and decide what to do. Okay, so we're running up. How can we prevent jaundice? Oh my, that's a long question. Can you try and read our article on neonatal jaundice on our website? There's more information because it's a long one, and I just want us to round up now. Sorry about that. Or you can just ask. Okay, so what I would say is that if you can't finish answering your question now, you can just go to, because our time is up. Sorry, we have to go. What you can do is that you can go to our um, Facebook group, and you can post your questions there. And we're always there 24/6. We don't work on Sunday. We're always there 24/6, and we will answer your questions. So I'm not sure I'll be able to answer. Let me see how many questions are left. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. We still have a lot of questions. No, I won't be able to answer them now. We're already like 70 minutes beyond our schedule. So I've answered the last person that came at 10 o'clock. So all the other people that come after 10, you are asking questions after our normal time for this broadcast. So I was going to stop here now. But don't worry. What you can do for us, for our moderators, for those who are asking questions on the watch party, please, you can help us answer the questions under there as reply. But you can all just go to the Ask Britannia Facebook group, drop your questions there like a post on his own, and then some will answer them. We will answer them because we have to run right now. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, Busala, what do you have to say? Final word?
Okay. Thank you so much. We do hope you enjoyed yourself. Personally, it was an enlightening session for me. We look forward to seeing you same time next week on this platform. Until then, keep sharing the things you've learned to other mothers to make them better mothers. Keep using those information and keep watching ATP Live.
Yeah, thank you. Just to say that this program has been brought to you by Ask Generation Foundation. We are very sorry we took extra time. In the last 1 minute, I just want to say that you can support us. You can see on our screen our Ask Generation Foundation. And currently, apart from what we do online, we also do community medical outreaches. So we also go offline to support communities where they don't have access to pediatricians and all that. So you can support us. You can advertise on this program. You can advertise on all our platform, websites, group, page, and you can just bless us by donating so that we can reach more children. And I just want to also announce that Act Protection is taking part in the Global Giving Accelerator Program, which is an incredible opportunity for us to raise funds on a global platform. And so we're going to be going live from March 11. And we want all of you that listen to this program, you can give back. I mean, appreciate the fact that you have been blessed on this program by supporting us to make sure that we reach the minimum of $5,000 in from 40 donors. So if you want to be part of that, you can send us a message. You can email us, you can post on our group, or we'll also share the link with you so that we can remind you when it is time. It's going to be from March 11 to March 29. So we really appreciate all of you supporting us. So once again, thank you so much. And now all of you can go and vote. So that if you have not voted for the president, you can go and vote now. No, don't sell your votes, don't fight, just be a good Nigerian. And once again, we'll see you next week at 10 o'clock for another edition of ATP Live. Bye from here. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.